Happy Devils Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, Sunday edition. Always at 9 p.m. Eastern. I am your host, Sam Wu, here with Beer Baron, as we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, Twitch, and now on Instagram Live on the Let's Go Devils Network, as we ask the question, what now?
Which is a very valid question, because what do you do? Do you root for them to win? Do you root for them to lose? Because there's really mathematically, there's a probability that they can make the playoffs, but there is a possibility that they will make the playoffs. So realistically, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think anybody, any real Devil fan can sit down and be like, they're going to do it, they're going to do it. I think that train has left the station. It left the station right around the beginning of January, it felt like. That this team was going in the wrong direction. And then when Fitzgerald didn't really do much during the trade deadline to either sell or rebuild, it kind of gave you mixed emotions too. So what now is a very appropriate thing to think, because this team is it's really confusing. It's really confusing because, yeah, it's fun. I was at the game last night. Fun to watch them win. Great to watch them win. And at the same time, you have that feeling it's like, we're going to be just good enough to miss out on a top draft pick, and then we're going to get a top 10, top 15, and we're going to be just bad enough to miss the playoffs. And that is more frustrating than having a horrible season. I think it's way more frustrating. So what now? Do you root for them, or do you want them to lose?
That's a good question. It
is.
I have some ideas. I know you have ideas. I know the people on YouTube YouTube Live has some ideas. What now? I'll be honest with you, Beer Baron, and I've said this many times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm over the rebuilding mindset.
Yeah, for quite some time now.
Yeah. Now, if this was like the end of the Marty Brodeur era back in 2014, I'd be like, let's lose. You know, right now, I'm not in that mindset, unfortunately. And I think where you eloquently pointed out is the what now. I think the trouble I'm having is not knowing where our destiny is, because we're not a playoff team, but we're not a top 5 lottery pick team.
Mm-hmm.
And with the way the draft works, the draft lottery, you can't really tank it per se anymore.
No, you can't. You can't tank with the intentions of like, we'll suck so bad that we're guaranteed the number 1 overall pick. The Edmonton days kind of like torpedoed all that. But I mean, and that was also like coming down the pipe. But yeah, can't do that anymore.
Yeah, Edmonton and the Pittsburgh Penguins as well. That's what they did. You know, in the Crosby.
That's how they got Lemieux.
Yeah, Lemieux, Crosby, Marc-Andre Fleury. The list goes on. Malkin. So, with that said, I think the uncertainty has gotten fans anxious. We're making the best of it. Last night was a fun time. It was definitely
fun.
a fun time.
We had a good time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say something though, Sam? Like, it feels like, and I know there are some people in the YouTube chat kind of like essentially saying around the same thing. If we had a competent GM, I wouldn't be concerned picking in the top 15, top 10, or even getting a lottery pick. You know, I would just be like, you know what, the season was tough, but at least we have somebody who's in charge, who's going to put the right pieces in place or use the assets that we have to bolster this roster to, you know, take it to the next step. But I don't have any confidence there. I don't have any confidence in the head coach right now. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe I'm looking at this team all wrong, and I'm guaranteed there's probably somebody out there like, yeah, you don't know what you're looking at. You don't know puck, or you don't know this, or you don't know that, because everybody says that kind of garbage. But it's like, am I wrong to look at this team and just be like, they look so unbelievably flat, even in a win? Because there's shifts last night where you're looking on the ice when they're up 2-0 and they like go down 2, or it goes to 2-1, and then Panarin scores 2-2, and I'm like, oh my god, I hear that Johnny Cash song singing in my ear. I hear that train a coming, rolling around the bend. Like I feel the inevitability of what was going to happen. Luckily, we pulled it out, and like they actually pulled out a win. But it felt like Kopitar's going to get his point streak, or he's going to get his most points in LA King history tonight, which happened. And then we were going to blow a game that we had a lead in because nothing feels comfortable. The goaltending is terrible. Everything feels flat. Defense is just letting guys just walk out in front and take wide open shots or leaving guys uncovered. Sorry, I'm going on a rant, but it's so frustrating.
I'll stop you there with the. I'm giving Jake Allen a pass because I don't think any of those goals were really his fault, and that's what happens when you don't start your 1B for such a long time in between breaks. Mm-hmm. He started against Buffalo when we went to that game after the Olympic break, and then he hadn't had a start since. And then think about before the Olympic break, those games he wasn't starting. It was Markey that was starting. So, again, I thought there was a little rust there on Allen, but he was good enough to win. A lot of Kings players were just left in the slot area, just untouched in front of the crease.
Uncovered. Uncovered, untouched. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's absolutely frustrating. Because there's way too much talent on this team for them to play the way they do. Where, you look at this roster and you're like, if I were to put this roster on a piece of paper and give it to like a non-NHL person who knows hockey but doesn't really know all the rosters or know the teams well or know what's going on, they would look at it and be like, yeah, statistically this team looks like they should be great. They have the right kind of players in the right places, but then, they don't. They have a lot of the same kind of guys, like, in different areas. They have a lot of the same guys in the pipeline, and it just feels like there has to be some kind of major change. And it sucks because for you and I, and when Scotty's here, it's like at a week-in, week-out basis, we're going through the same conversation. And we even joked before the show, like, this conversation gets a little stale and gets a little old for us because it's like, what else do we have to talk about? We could talk about the fact that like, the future is bright in certain areas. Like we have Gritsuk and Hamaneo, like they look great. That pass that Lenny had over to Gritty last night, and that's taking the puck midair and putting it in the back of the net, that was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So there's pieces that look bright. Jack is taking on like a completely different role. He's like completely changed. His on ice performance last night, he had a lot of big turnovers.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's certain things that it's just the uncertainty, and I think that's what's annoying. If they would have fired Fitz, at least you could be like, all right, here we go. Okay, clean slate, boys. Ride out the rest of the season, see where we end up. At least we know we're getting a new GM at the end of the year. But they didn't do anything the whole year, and by all accounts, according to Fitzgerald, he is in lockstep with ownership. Christ's sake. How can you be an owner and look at this product on the ice and be like, this is great, guys? That arena was like maybe 3/4 full last night, maybe less. I bought tickets right before the game for 5 people in a row.
And they're pretty cheap.
And I had options.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were cheap, and I had options to buy a section of 5 tickets right next to each other.
Yep.
And if you don't think that's a big deal, then you're a moron.
It's an odd number that for starters.
It's an odd number for starters, and like second of all, there shouldn't be that many seats available to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, on a Saturday night.
But on a Saturday night. But oh boy, were there plenty.
or me sitting in section 20. Anyway,
the future is bright. Select a boy. They did say the future is bright, but at the same time, like you look at pieces that they have on this team, and yes, they are bright. And I don't want to be pessimistic and miserable this whole time because I know that turns people away too. Like, let's be real. Like, nobody wants to tune in and be like, this is what I wanted to hear. I want to hear complaining. We just need to get this off our chest. Like, we need to get this little bit off of our chest, and then we'll move into a positive, more a friendly, fun direction. But as a fan, like, and we want to hear from you guys. Like, we want to on the Facebook chat and the YouTube chat is going wild like it always does. Like, everybody's going crazy and adding in all these different comments, and we try to keep up with it as best as we can. Sometimes it goes a little quick, but I want to see what everybody's idea is for this team going forward. Clearly, there needs to be some kind of major change, and if they're not willing to make the change up at the top, does that mean that there's going to be a change behind the bench? And if there is going to be a change behind the bench, I'm kind of curious to see who would you guys want to see coach this team going forward. I don't think it can be a player-friendly coach, and I don't think it needs to be a taskmaster like a Tortorella. But it has to be somebody that's going to keep this team accountable. Like we've talked about DeBoer in the past. Have a reunion with him might not be a terrible idea. He might be the right kind of coach to bring this team back to a stable land. And I hate this because I really, really liked Keefe as a hire when they first brought him in.
All right. Let's play armchair GM, you and I, right now. Because
ooh, I love that.
All right. Now,
mm-hmm.
You know me, I could be a little radical with my thinking, but I like if you were, why don't we do this? Instead of GM, if you were David Blitzer right now, what would you do? Let's be David Blitzer for tonight.
Okay.
I'm texting my wife to send me some caviar down here since I'm pretending to be David Blitzer right now.
Oh, Shanahan. All right, I like that. I'm reading what some people are saying. Dallas assistant GM. I see Shanahan's name. I'd keep Keefe over Fitz in a heartbeat. All right, go on. So I like the direction that we're going in. So now we own a team. Let's just say we won the lottery and we had the billions of dollars to do so. We made some wise investments, and now we have gone
bought Doge.
Yeah,
we bought Doge and we sold it.
I found a USB drive laying in the middle of the park, and it had unlimited Bitcoin on it, and now we're wealthy beyond our dreams. And we bought the team. There you go.
Plus somehow we found Joshua Harris kicked out of the league for something stupid outside of hockey.
All that. Who cares?
Yeah,
we bought the team.
Well,
outright.
we own the team right now. So are we co-owners?
So
are we co-owners?
Yeah, sure. We're co-owners. Co-owners.
Right.
First things first. Before we even get to the on-ice product, first things first. This is the first thing that I would do. If I had the money to buy the team, I would clean up the stadium on the outside. Walking into the stadium last night, this place is a dump. In front of it. The streets are covered in garbage. That's first things first. Let's clean up outside of the arena. And I'm going to get rid of that big, dumb, stupid. Either I'm going to fix it or I'm going to get rid of it because this has been a thorn in my side forever. That big LED screen that's like in the sections on the front of the stadium.
Which was supposed to be a TV. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like in concept. It was like, oh, look at how cool and slick this is. I thought it was dumb from the get-go. And it doesn't work, and it hasn't worked for a very long time. It just looks big and dumb, so get rid of it.
And it was supposed to be a green TV, by the way. Environmentally, yeah. Because that's why it was split, so it allows the sunlight to go in to the arena. All right, so if we're both co-owners, I'd also sanitize the kitchen so we don't get food poisoning either with the Taylor ham.
We're gonna re-renovate the entire place. We're gonna take a lot of these. Remember when the Rock first opened? They had a lot of like local places. You can get like a Jersey burger. You can get this, or Hobby's Deli is gonna have their own little section in there.
Yep.
We're gonna restock it with like reputable and solid food providers.
Yes.
And they're going to have their own little section. And you know what? It's going to be some of the best food in the entire league. And we're going to make the prices reasonable.
Yes.
We're going to start bringing in a section. If you want booze to be there, everybody likes a little bit of alcohol, right? We all like a little bit of alcohol, but we're going to start something different. We're going to have a little beer garden, and it's going to be nothing but craft breweries from the state of New Jersey. So you can walk in there and you can sample a different beer from different parts of the state. Yeah. And then we're going to also promote all local business and bring them in there and try to expand on that.
I would go with the Atlanta, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium model, where they have affordable food prices, like affordable food menus where you can actually get a hot dog for like $2 or something like that. Because honestly, all the prices are just absolutely inflated inside the arena as expected. But of course, we're business people, right? Since we own the team, since we made some good investments, our investments in the food, I know you make money off of the concessions. The Devils probably make 100% of it, whatever the deal that they have owning the arena. But you want to have a full building every night. It's more than just gate receipts. It's your brand. It's perception.
Experience.
Yes.
It's fan experience.
Yes. And the food be good as well. So, and no food poisoning as well. But let's get to the team. Let's
All right, we'll get to the team now. So we look at the management, and you have your pick of any GM that you would like to get. You have Sonny Mata down in Florida. You have someone brought up the name, Brendan Shanahan's name. Somebody brought up there's a few different areas that you would like to go in. Sam, I'm going to throw this into your court of expertise. Who is your hand-picked GM for this team for next season?
Okay. I want to preface by saying this, that the current Devils team, I've been on record and saying it, and people have argued with me, is that the ownership is the problem. And the reason why I say that is history keeps on repeating itself. In this scenario, we're the owners, right? Because we made some savvy investments,
savvy.
Yeah, savvy.
We brought Hooters back to prominence.
Yeah. I'm selling oil right now, in Texas right now. All that kind of stuff. It's funny because that guy, Sonny, was originally one of the Devils analytics people back in 2014 or 2015. And that didn't work out. Why didn't it work out? You could say maybe it's what I was saying. It seems like anybody that passes through the New Jersey Devils and go elsewhere has really good success. So I don't think this whole time with this current ownership group, talent was the issue. I think it's an organizational issue. If I was going to go out and get somebody, Sonny is more on the analytics side. But I would be looking for more of organizational structure and discipline. But you have
a grassroots guy.
Yeah.
The hockey guy.
Hockey guy. Shanahan would be on top of my list, but not necessarily. But I'm a culture guy, and I would go back in time. I would love to have – I don't think it's realistically can be done because I think a lot of bridges were burnt, but I would consult Scott Stevens on it because that whole 3 Stanley Cups, it also bridges the Lou Lamoriello era, but you don't want to bring Lou in at this point, maybe as a consultant, but I tell Lou, I could cut you at any time. You're not running the team. But get back to Devils defense, discipline, and just that hard-nosed blue-collar style. And I would find, that's going to be tough. Who would you?
If I could pluck anybody, we'll bring back an one-time Devil, and I bring back Billy G. I loved what he did with the U.S. roster. I love what he does in Minnesota. I think he has a grasp on what makes what could possibly make a team that could win the East. So I would bring back Billy G. I love that you went single cam. Oh my God.
I had to blow my nose.
Oh, that's all right. I would either bring him back or go find somebody of the same kind of mindset. Like you said, a hockey guy, a guy that's going to go out there and make moves that are necessary for the team. There's going to be moves that are going to break your heart as a fan. And I think that's the thing that we need too, is we need somebody from an outside perspective that's going to come in here and be like, hey, you know what? I love who you got in this position, this position, and this position. This guy might be a fan favorite, but he's got to go out the door in order to get something else that's going to be able to fill at least one or two holes for this team. And I think it needs to be, somebody that's willing to make the tough decisions that in the right way that's going to positively impact the team. Yeah. You don't want somebody that's going to come in here and start making analytical decisions and cutting fat and cutting corners and trying to do things that they think is going to better this team, signing players to these no movement, by the way, I think the last time I checked, 37% of the league now has no movement clauses. It's either no movement or no trade clauses, that's an insane amount of contracts that already have that. So it's not just the Devils that are just shelling them out. And I wouldn't be shocked if that's something that's addressed in the next CBA. But you want a GM that is going to not just address this team, and you don't need to blow it up and take like a 7-year rebuild. You need somebody that's going to be like, okay, we can move this piece here. We can make this work here. We can get this guy over here because he's, he might be a third liner on this team over here, but by God, is he he's a lunch pail guy who's going to go and get you the hard minutes, go into the corners and dig out the puck and actually, make things happen. Like you want the guy that's going, like you said, is going to build a culture of winning, not just like a tough team to play against. There's a lot of guys that are like, oh, they're going to be a tough team to play against. A tough team to play against is also a team that sacrifices skill. So there's a lot of times where you're like, I want that gritty and hard-working team. And it's like, all right, cool. But then you're also going to be giving up on guys like Jack Hughes because Jack Hughes is not a guy that's going to go into corners. He's going to be a guy that's going to go flying up the middle of the ice. So you kind of need that balance, right? And I think that's one thing that this team at one point was starting to accomplish was it felt like they were going in the right direction, and it felt like they were starting to get balanced, where they had the speed, they had the skill, and then they were sort of kind of getting a little bit grittier. You got Timo Meier, and that was like, oh, man, Timo's a big, nasty dog. All right, well, there's that balance that's starting to happen. It's starting to tip and, make sure that this is kind of going evenly. And then it just never, ever went in the way that it needed to go. It was like, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna tell you that, we're talking about a new GM, and I'm going to say a lot of things that is going to piss off a lot of fans. But number one, you got to rebuild this farm system. The farm system, the player development, you got to fire pretty much everybody at this point. We're not really seeing any development coming out of Utica like we should, like back in the old days with Albany. The success back in the 90s and 2000s because the Devils farm system was stacked with talented players. So your player development, your scouting, your analytics team, maybe that's where Sonny comes in. Maybe, have a more GM type role. I don't know, but but that farm system is in shambles. It needs to be better than what it is. Like, I get it that Seamus Casey, was the AHL All-Star, whatever. Like, they got to be developing players so we can plug holes and all that. The pipeline is kind of bare at this point. Was that you?
Sorry. That was me.
Oh, okay.
Somebody wrote no audio, so I was just checking to see if I could hear it on my.
No, it's not on us. We're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just log back out and then log back in. But they wouldn't be able to hear me saying that. So
sorry, I just wanted to make sure in case we needed to do something drastic.
No, I got spotters that would tell.
Yeah.
Me. So that's that. I mean, if I was a GM, honestly, I know this is going to be tough, but I think we got to break up the Swiss Mafia on this team.
I hate to say it too, but I agree. I will say last night Nico had like a few different opportunities to throw a puck at the empty net and get himself a hat trick, and he passed up the puck. And Cody Glass, and by the way, I have become a huge Cody Glass fan. I think the dude plays hard every single time he's on the ice. Cody Glass seems like a guy that third line center that, you know what, I think we can roll with this guy going forward. I don't know. I think he's proven to me at least that he's got a good future with this team. And his line always seems to be the line that's going out there and like generating chances and getting things going and stuff like that too. But after the game, he said, speaking about Nico passing the puck over to Timo to get that empty net goal, he said, "You know what? That's what a captain does. Like an unselfish play that goes over to Timo, and I love Nico Hischier. I think he's a great captain. I would like to keep him on the team because I think that having a center who's a 200-foot player, somebody that plays the game the right way, who plays his damn heart out every shift, I think having him on the team is fine. Timo, I still think if we use Timo the right way, I think he would be a great piece to have. He'll have, like, at the end of the season, he'll probably end up with 25 goals, so you want him to have way more than that. That's for darn sure. Him and Luke had the same amount of points going into last night's game at 31. So you definitely want to see his production go up a lot more, especially being in that top two line minutes.
So you want to keep the Swiss Mafia? I'm on the opposite end.
I would keep those two out of the Swiss Mafia, but I mean, there's only 3 of them left now because Siegenthaler is the third out of it was them, and it was the Kier Schmid.
Well, I'm trying to move.
I don't know.
I'm trying to make cap space because Nico Hischier is going to be very expensive.
Yeah,
very soon. That's where I'm getting at with it. It's nothing personal, but he is the captain, and this team is floundering. But his trade value is very high at this point. Would you move Nico Hischier and really change the culture?
If you can get a haul back for Nico, if you can get an absolute haul back for him, because you should be able to. You should be able to get a ton for him. And anybody that doubts that, look at some of the centers that were in the trade market and look at what they fetched, right? And you're talking about a guy who's on a doorstep of winning a Selke, so I think you can get a decent amount for him.
I mean, I love Nico too.
A great amount for him.
But you got to look at the amount of cap space. I think after the Olympics, and I've said this many times, and really you need to build the team around Jack Hughes. And who would you give the C to if Nico Hischier is moved?
I think inevitably you'd give it to Jack.
I would think so.
You would think so. But is Jack really? And listen, and I am a huge Jack Hughes fan too. I mean, shoot, I finally ordered my. They've restocked the jerseys, or at least I thought they did, and I've ordered it on Fanatics, and I was like, let me just track the package and see where it's at. August. It will be here in August. Hockey season, August. But anyways, if you're going to build around Jack, you can't build a team that is all Jack-like. If you're going to build around Jack, and I'm not saying this is going to sound stupid. If you're going to build around Jack, you build a team that's similar to that U.S. team. I'm not saying you're going to go out and get all these like superstar players. That's stupid, right? But the same kind of makeup.
More North American. That's where I was getting at. Because I think we've got a mixture of European and North American, and I just don't think it. I don't know. You
don't think it's jiving?
Well, it's not consistent. But is it the culture again? But is it the culture? I've always said it goes above the Sheldon Keefe and Tom Fitzgerald. Believe it or not, Basically, I want to see accountability, and I don't think Nico Hischier is the type of captain that's going to hold players accountable. He doesn't seem to be. He leads by example. My goodness, he leads by example. Class act, lining up, shaking Kopitar's hand. Last night, with the team, that's the stuff you want to see in a captain. He's A+ there, but you remember the days of Scott Stevens as captain. His presence in the room, you better, like Cam Jansen even, was on this podcast talking about Scott. Just his mere presence in the room scare the crap out of you.
Yeah, different time though. That's the only difference is like different time, different type of players, different player. Tell me a guy that you would have a comparable to Scott Stevens that you would bring to this team. Let's say let's just say everybody's a free agent. Every human being is a free agent in the NHL right now, just for fun. Okay, who is one guy that you would bring in to be like, that's my captain?
Brad Marchand.
Because there's a lot of. I don't hate that, but I would not do that.
Well, not right now.
At his age
at
now.
His age, but we're talking comparables. Steve Stamkos, when he was captain of the Lightning, he was
demanded respect. I think Connor McDavid demands respect in
Of
Edmonton.
course he does. There's only one Connor McDavid.
Listen, there's only one. There's only one. I think if you had somebody like, I don't know. Crosby demands respect. Ovechkin demands respect, but in different ways, right? Completely different ways. McKinnon, I think McKinnon would be a hell of a captain. And if my firm belief that if Landeskog had to retire, that McKinnon's probably the next captain of Colorado. Yeah, I know some people say Makar, but I believe it's McKinnon. That dude. No, it's
definitely McKinnon.
Who else? There's a lot of guys to choose from, or there's a lot of great guys in the league that you'd be like, yeah, that dude's a dog. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Nico's not a bad captain. I think he's a great captain. I think he's a great player. But if, like you said, I think it was Dubs was saying like he's probably going to command like 11.5 when his salary comes back up, and it's like, all right, so when do you get rid of him? If you're going to do that, do we do it this summer? Do you start cleaning house this summer? Do you do like a Nico Hischier, Brady Tkachuk, 1-for-1?
Well, the Devils look. Jesper Bratt would be on. I think everybody's on the block. Everybody's on the block because inevitably, again, hate to say it, but you also are going to have to pay Quinn Hughes if you're able to grab him at some point. So you got to make you need to make the cap space for all that. And think of like Timo Meier and Nico Hischier one day may eat up about $20 million of that cap.
So would you do, and now that Austin Matthews is out for the year, would you figure out a way to move, Lord knows what Toronto would want for him, let's say Nico, Bratter, and I don't know, one other piece for Austin Matthews? or do you think that's an overpay? What do you think? What do you think?
Just remember,
Nico plus what to get Austin Matthews?
Remember, you gotta get the salaries to work as well. So it's not like you could just trade 1-for-1 because
no.
Austin
Matthews. I
Matthews.
get that.
Yeah, so I would trade if Toronto was willing. I would trade Nico. They probably don't want Bratt because of the price tag. I'm not sure if they would want Mercer at all.
Mm-hmm.
Mercer's tradable, remember, because he doesn't have no movement. So I think that's what, because it takes care of the center position, so there's not a big hole in their top six. I mean, Austin Matthews has always been on my radar. But again, it seems impossible, but I don't think it's impossible. We've seen American-born players jettison out of Canada. Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk.
And Matthew Tkachuk. Well, that whole situation.
And Quinn Hughes. And Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys that definitely make that jump, but there's injury concern now. I know some guys are saying in the chat, like, well, Matthews, his production has gone down. Jay Snow called Matthews another soft player. Do you think a change of scenery for him is what the doctor orders and get out of a large market like Toronto? Is he going to be rejuvenated to go somewhere else where he's not going to have the same kind of pressure, where he's not going to have the same kind of look at him, where he's going to have, a different way of looking at things? Listen, man, this is all hypothetical, and that's the fun of this right now.
Yeah.
Like, what now? The what now of this team is it's all hypothetical.
That's all we're doing.
We have no idea. Yeah, we have no idea what the hell is going to happen in the offseason.
I mean, if you want to make if you're a new owner like we are, and you want to make a splash, it doesn't matter because Jason Snow says Matthews is another soft player. Well, is he softer than Nico Hischier? I mean, Austin Matthews can score 69 goals in one season.
Until he came here, and then he like 30.
Yeah,
that's the
30,
plight of a goal scorer.
Yeah, 30 collecting checks and on LTIR.
Yeah.
But
but it's true though. Like, we don't really know what's going to happen with this team. We just hope that there's going to be significant change in certain ways, because if you roll it back, and by God, I have a nightmare. I'm not even kidding about this. I had a nightmare the other night. I was watching a press conference, and I swear to Christ, and in my dream, they're like, we're rolling it back. We're going to bring it back. We're going to roll out the same team. And I remember, like, in my dream, just like, I was watching TV, and I, like, turned the TV off, and I was like, no. Like, I said a lot of choice things that I'm not going to say right now. But, like, that's what it feels like it's going to happen, right? Because every time when the Devils had 3 first-round draft picks, we're like, no way. They're trading all 3 of them. You trade all 3 of them, you're going to go out, and you're going to get this guy. Or you're going to take one, the lower one, you can use that. And then the other 2, you package them up. You get yourself, like, an established NHLer. Like, let's go. The draft is, like, relatively okay. Like, it's not super deep. Maybe trade one of these to get a one next year. And we used all 3.
But
and then it's like, all right, well, Johnny Gaudreau is going to come here. We're going to make this happen. We're going to make this. Came in second place. Oh, we're Matthew Tkachuk. Because if you remember, before Tkachuk went to the Panthers, there was a very strong rumor that he was going to go to New Jersey because of the ties that he has with Fitzgerald being his cousin or whatever the hell he is.
How's that working out? He should get fired. He should get fired for that. Just he can't even get his own family members on this team, But I also want to point out, we're talking about moving salary, strictly trading Nico just to move salary or potential salary in the future. But honestly, if I was going to rebuild this team, it starts from the goalie out. It would be nice to have a stud goaltender, a real stud goaltender in net as your number one, like a Hellebuck. Or I would even put, Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, Sorokin, that type of stud goaltender. But you would have to pay a huge price. And, there were rumors that the Devils were in on Hellebuck. And Nick Villano and I talked about it on the State of the Fan address, that in that slight window when they were talking, this is before Hellebuck signed that monster extension, the Dawson Mercer's name was mentioned as being part of the trade. Are you kidding me? I would totally make that trade if Dawson Mercer was the centerpiece, and then you add in the draft picks and all the other stuff that goes along with it for Connor Hellebuck, just for those 4 years.
Yeah.
In his prime. So, again, I would build from the goaltender out. What's wrong?
Missed opportunities too. No,
yeah.
I'm just laughing about the missed opportunities. Like there was, and the ever so popular, we came in second place, or we were close. We were close.
Second place is a first place loser.
Yeah, and it's what's frustrating about when you hear stuff like that too is the team in itself. You're not far away from figuring it out, right? You're not there's a point, and I was to blame for this. You were to blame for this. I would say everybody out there was to blame for this. When we got Keefe, we were all super pumped about that. Even during last season, we were like, yeah, he's the right coach. I feel like he's getting the most out of this guy, and I think it's going to work out. It's going to be great.
But is he really the coach? That's why I wonder.
Well, there's all that kind of stuff too. But then we have at points we've sat back and we're like, man, Fitzgerald is a genius. Look at what he's doing here. Look at what he's doing there. Oh my God, look at that trade. Wow, he's Paul Cotter last year. Wow, Paul Cotter. All right, we're fixing that bottom six. Okay, yeah, all right. Bringing in Pesci. Okay, great. That guy. Well, right. And there's points where we're all like, yeah, but he's doing a great job. And he's like, he Fitzmagic is doing his thing. Or he fleeced him. Oh, my God. And then when all that stuff settles in, it's like buying a used car. You're like, man, I got a great deal on this thing. The wheels are really shiny. It's got, dice on the mirror. Pretty nice deal. This Camaro, this IROC. We're going to drive it down the beach. We're going to turn some heads. Take off the T-tops. You watch. You get behind the wheel, and you're going down, and you get onto the parkway, and all of a sudden you feel that first little rattle under the hood, and you're like, it's an IROC. Of course it's going to rattle. It's just too much muscle for anybody to handle. And you start getting closer, and you're working your way down. You get to the first toll, and all of a sudden, you get that weird smell coming through the vents, and you're like, oh, it's burning some kind of coolant. That's all right. It's an IROC. It can handle it. And then you get to the beach, and the car, it just explodes. And then you're left walking around in your shorts.
Mrs. Wu,
it just seems like the point of that analogy is it seems like a great thing at one point until it really shows its true colors, and you're like, dude.
Mrs. Wu
my God!
We're used to drive a Camaro back in the day. Little tidbit there.
Everybody hurts. Thanks, Ted. Now that's gonna be stuck in my head forever.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like every year I feel like there's a bait and switch on us. They sell the hype. They sell the hype. They sell the hype. If it wasn't for Jack Hughes scoring that golden goal, I think the team, remember before the Olympic break, it was getting ugly.
Oh,
it was
I
getting
tell you
very
what,
ugly.
I tell you what, I guarantee Devils ownership and, whoever, all those people involved, Fitzgerald, all those guys involved, when Jack scored that goal, we're like, yes, we've got more time. We got more time because we could ride this wave of USA Jack.
Yep.
We could ride the wave of the Golden Boy. We'll put up posters. We'll have in that little, hey, you want a raffle? You want a raffle? Oh, you could buy a Jack Hughes autographed USA poster and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's like, yeah, but now that wave is starting to really ride all the way up to the beach. And we love it, and we're all grateful for it, and we love Jack. And even last night, you're still seeing Jack Hughes jerseys, the USA jerseys in the crowd and stuff like that. Although I went to the freaking Devil's Den, and they had a jersey, a Jack Hughes jersey. And I was like, oh, sweet, it's the USA, Team USA jersey. Do you want to take a guess how much that was?
$68
for a T-shirt?
$68.
No. Surprised it wasn't $86, and they're like, we're giving you a deal. No, it's $50. $50 for a T-shirt?
Mm.
$50. $40 for a hat. I'm like, yeah, you know what? And I pick up a hoodie. I'm like, oh, this is a nice hoodie. $210. I'm like, it ain't that nice.
Hey, that's where knockoffs come in.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I just, you know what? I think Jack what he did was incredible. I think it sucks that we can't build that momentum. How sweet would it have been if, he comes back, this team's in the heat of in the midst of a heated playoff race. You use that momentum to be like, yes, he tasted winning. Let's grab this by the horns and let's ride this son of a bitch all the way to the playoffs and go as deep as we can. Trade deadline, it's right here. Let's fix this team and just one more piece. Brady Tkachuk, come on, you're coming with us.
And you know what happened?
Nothing.
No, they just started Markstrom so many times in a row for no reason.
Oh my God. But we have to prove. It was like somebody, either Fitzgerald or Keefe, was like, we have to prove this guy has it or he doesn't have it, and now we're going to just do this.
That's what it seems
Here's
like.
Markey. Here's Markey. Here's Markey. Here's Markey.
Maybe they were hoping that Markey would suck so bad that since he has a no movement clause that the fans will just run him out of town and he'll waive it. Maybe that's the reason why they started Markey so many times. But to his credit, he did win 4 in a row.
Yeah, sure. Okay. He won 4 in a row, but it's but that's I almost dropped a hard F on that one. That's the problem right now. Is that this team is just bad enough not to make the playoffs and is just good enough not to get the top pick. So it's going to be a middling, good-for-nothing, kick-in-the-sack type of season. And I know I wanted to be we're going to be positive and stuff like that. We still have fun, but I feel like this is stuff that all Devils fans need to say right now.
Kind of reminds me.
Wanna...
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Kind of reminds me of financial aid going to college. Your
parents,
parents,
don't even get me started.
Your parents, don't make enough, to help you out in college, but they make too much where they can't help you out.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean?
Yeah,
that's what it. You're in that freaking no man's land, with this team.
Yeah,
it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But the bottom line is, right now, they got what, 0.9% chance of making the playoffs.
And they're not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic. You have to go on a 16-0 run in order to make it in. Because how many games they have left? 17 now? 17
they
games
played
left
66
until the end of the
games.
season?
They played 66 games already. There's 82 games in the season. 14 more games?
16.
16? All right.
16 more games. So there's 16 more games to go. And it's like you're going to have to go at a minimum, you're going to have to go 13-0-2 or 13-0-3, I'm sorry. At a minimum. Because I'll pull it up right now how many points they're behind in the wild card.
I said after the Olympic break, the Devils were afforded 5 losses. So far, they have 4.
Yeah. Yeah. They've already used. It's
they
like
already used up their mulligans.
It's like playing video games, and you're like, "Don't worry, my guy has 4 lives." And you're like in the first round, you're like, well, and now I have one of those little hearts.
But you can have a half-life if for overtime loss, so you can kind of get more mileage out of it.
So they're 12 points out of a playoff spot right now.
Beat Boston tomorrow outright, but then again, they're chasing Detroit.
So Detroit and Boston are both sitting at tied at 80. You have Columbus at 79. You have Ottawa at 77. You have Philly at 74. I think Washington's kind of packing it in. I don't think Florida's going to go on a magical run. So they literally will have to win. They're going to have to win at least like 13 of their next 16 games at a minimum to make it. 12 points is monumental. Even if it was 6 points, it would be monumental. You know, and whatever. Maybe we'll go to Buffalo and watch Buffalo play in the playoffs. That'd be fun.
Yeah. How's Lindy doing now? He's laughing all the way, you know.
Yeah, having his beer with his old compadres up in Buffalo.
I bet you his pregame speech is like, let me tell you guys, where I came from New Jersey, you guys have it so good up here.
Well, hey, for fun, let's look at their schedule, okay? All right, so here we go. We have Boston, the Rangers, Washington, Dallas, Nashville, Carolina, Chicago, the Rangers. So we have Boston. We'll skip Boston's game first. Okay, so the Rangers, they should beat the Rangers,
but they're hot now.
Washington, they are hot, but still should beat them. So the Rangers and Washington, both those teams, I think they could win both those games. Then you have Dallas, that's probably a loss. Nashville, toss up. I think they could probably beat Nashville, probably.
They do better against Western Conference teams on the road.
Yeah. Carolina, they're going to lose because Carolina owns us.
Yeah.
Chicago and then New York. They can beat Chicago. They can beat New York. All right, so there's some of the wins right there, right? Then we go into
April.
We're into April.
Every other game.
And we play
every other day.
Washington. Yeah, every other day. It goes Washington. Maybe beat them. Montreal. I don't know. Montreal's pretty tough. Montreal again, and that's a home and away. So that's travel. And then Philly, Pittsburgh, Detroit. So Philly, Pittsburgh, and Detroit. Philly, who knows what kind of team they're going to be. Pittsburgh is I feel like, going to just keep on settling down towards where they are. Detroit, Ottawa, and Boston. Is it in the realm of impossible? Yes. Yes, it is. Because this team's so. If this team was like, man, the Devils, even when they lose, it's a gritty effort. Oh man, do they look good? They look hot. They're a good team.
Do you know why I say it's impossible? Is because they're going to have to start Markstrom in a lot of these games, and he just gives up so many goals in the first 5 minutes. It's always like playing from behind when he's in that.
Mm-hmm.
At least with Allen, he shut him out in the first period. Devils had a 2-0 lead.
Mm-hmm.
Final thoughts?
Final thoughts are this, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys. Listen, I know sometimes we can be griping and we can kind of sound negative. It's all being a fan, right? And if we sat here and we were all primroses and proper and smiles and rainbows shooting out of our asses, I don't think anybody would take us serious because being a fan is living in the misery. It's living in the joy, and it's enjoying both of those things when they happen. Being a fan of a real team and being a longtime fan of a team, means you're going to have these peaks and valleys, and you're going to have these moments of utter despair, and you're going to have moments of utter elation. Being a fan of this team, especially in the last couple of years, means that there's going to be hope and then disappointment, followed by more hope and followed by more disappointment. It feels like one of these years they're going to get it together, and it did feel that way when they beat the Rangers in the first round a couple years ago. And it feels like they could probably get back to there again. The unknown and the what if of this team is something that's going to haunt us for the rest of the season. But we hang in there. We still cheer them on. We'll still be happy when they score goals, and we'll be happy for the individual efforts that they're making on the ice. Unfortunately, some of these guys are going to be gone at the end of the year, but hopefully for a brighter and better future. As for Fitzy, I could care less what happens to him, but I'd like to see him go. Because as Sam said before, it'd be nice to have somebody who could build an actual hockey team.
My final thoughts. That was an excellent final thoughts by you, Beer Baron. I felt like, remember Jerry Springer when he had his final thought? That was very good. I'm giving you an Emmy on that one. Wow.
Thanks, man.
Wow. Wow.
That's from the heart, boy. That's from the heart.
Oh, yeah. No, that was really good. That's all I have to say. Morning Woo tomorrow morning. Also, Game Day Live and Devils After Dark after the game at American Whiskey, 51 Addison Place, across the street from Prudential Center next to Championship Plaza. Yes, Ted, renewals are down. They're down. We shall see. Great podcast tonight. Dropping the podcast in about 20 minutes. Till next time, let's go Devils.